Allison. Um, this is your first video, and I'm just going to let you know that on our program we had a little bit of the computer glitches. We saved 3 of your videos. We're just missing one of them, unfortunately. Somehow it pushed it to a different file that will not run again. So I apologize for that. But we have 3 of your videos, and um, we can get a good understanding of what's happening here. So I'm going to let you watch this first one. I'm going to brighten it up for you, kind of go through it slowly. And again, what we're looking for is, just to look how we're looking at it crossing our midline here, which you see straight up and down. We look at the hip strength when you're on one foot, and then what the arm rotation's doing. Are we generating forward power, or are we generating rotational power? And we'll go through the details of it. You're going to want to look at this a little bit so you understand, what's happening. And all the goal is to go forward with all of our energy, not to be crossing over, not to be bouncing from side to side or rotating. We're trying to put all of our effort forward. So what we do is we look at this first line right here that you see, and these feet should be on each side of this line, which gives our leg angle from outside here to middle of the foot, okay, off 90 degrees. That's 12 degrees of leg angle right there. And we really want this thing to be just a few degrees, like 3 to 5. So off 90, and what happens is that just puts a lot of stress on our muscles, our pronation of our ankle here. Plus it's a little more unbalanced. You have to end up popping up and down and really swaying your body from right to left to be able to bring the feet back around, instead of being right underneath the pelvis where you have the best leverage, the way the hip works. So as we measure this, let's let you go through a couple stances here, and we'll get you lined up on the... Okay, so this was your first one that we're lining you up to, right there. The angle right here, as we measure this off 180 degrees, is 7.6. Not too bad on that one, but you see how you're crossing your midline pretty aggressively. You turn your toe out, which saves your pronation a little bit, and that's all right. But when we look at it just a little bit further detail and put a little more load on it, we see that it actually goes into changes and goes into a little bit max pronation right there. That is your maximum amount of curvature, which is 12 degrees, and we don't ever want to be really over 8 degrees. So 12.6 degrees crossing over, and it's creating a tons of stress in the calf. So let's watch your right foot. As your right foot comes over, right here there should be a big gap, at least 2 to 3 inches in between. You see your knees are basically your knees behind your other knee, so it's going to have to cross around and somehow get around that. And what happens is, why it gets around it, is your hip starts to rotate outward. If you look down here, foot's at 90 degrees, or your knee here, which means you're at full pressure of your knee, and you see that you're basically over 20 degrees off 180. 20 degrees of pronation of ankles torque. So a lot of stress on the calf here, and this is just too much stress. You're young, you can tolerate it, but if you keep running like this, it's going to wear on you and create a lot of problems in the past or in the future for your calf muscles. The second thing we're going to look at is your hips. We look up here when you stand on one foot, and when you're putting all your pressure on the one foot, you see that your hips are very level. That's perfect. You got great extensor muscles, also known here, that extend your hip, but they're also known as the abductors. So perfect. That's what you want. Nothing wrong with that. As we come through, look at the arm swing. See how your arm is going across the body? This arm, you should see your hand. It can be a little bit of crossing. It's natural to have a little bit of forward to back, kind of obliquely along this line right here. But you're just rotating from side to side almost, which makes your pelvis come pretty far off the center line. See how much body mass here versus here? And that's because you have to clear your feet. So you kind of create a rotation so that your pelvis can follow. This will predicate what happens down here. If you want your feet to go straight, your arms need to go straight. And you've got to think about running on that line and not stepping on the line, but running on the sides of the line. So you watch your right elbow. Notice it's pretty far away from your body. You hold your arms out pretty good, and then again it crosses over and kind of stops at midline. Watch your left elbow, boom, again. So a lot of rotation taking place. Again, you're walking on a tightrope. It's like you're trying to stand on the same line, and we actually want to be on each side of the line. So you can see right here, right? Perfect. So just let you kind of watch again how much that one really, in fact, your whole foot is over on the cross line. We got to focus on this. This will take you just a few days of doing it. It should feel weird, but we've got to fix this. This is slowing you down quite a bit. You can be much faster from not crossing over. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause and go to your next video. Okay, Allison, here's your corrected, or trying to get you to correct a little bit, and you'll see that every few steps you actually do much better on your crossing over. I have you run barefooted because when you learn to run barefooted, your body wants to tend to run a little bit smarter. So your body doesn't want to strike with its heel, and that's kind of a testimony to what your body wants to do actually naturally. The shoe gives you a little false security, so you end up striking with your heel. But it's funny how your body will kind of change. Now, I won't have your first video of your shoe running sideways. I have the second video. That's the one we were missing, the first one. And again, I apologize for that with the computer. We did get it fixed though. So let's see what you look like here. Just watch yourself run. You're going to cross over pretty good there. That's much better though. You're on the inline. Not as bad, but we're just going to watch. That's really good there. Left one wants to cross over a little more than the right one does, which sometimes will cause a little bit more left-sided pain. But there's a good picture. So you're at least, see how you have gaps a little bit? Every other run, you're creating a little bit of gap in there. Using your arms a little bit more, but we still got that characteristic of rotation. Okay, so let's look at your left side. So right there on your first plant, the very first one that you planted, look how you were crossing over. The line used to be there. So when you do that, look how much straighter your leg is. A little bit better. Your one angle before was like, I think 11 degrees. So let's see what you are here. Get it on there. That one's 11 degrees, sorry. Your other one was, I think, 15. Go back and look at it, that's right. So let's look at your right foot. Watch the right foot. Now see how there's a gap here? That's what you're supposed to have. A little tiny bit wider would be better, but that's a good start. And then when you strike, there you go, not too bad. We'll let you go through a couple runs because you have to get used to it. That one wanted to cross over again, and that happens on your first time learning to run a little wider. You have to get used to the treadmill, and that's normal. Okay, you're still on the inside of the line, and what this is this would be 9 degrees versus the 20 degrees. Remember that first one we did? You'll go back and you'll see it was 20 degrees. That's 9. Okay, that's much better. Actually 8.4 degrees to be specific, but much better. You're staying on at least this side of the line. That one, see, there's an example of your old habit. Crossed over, you see tons of torque, so really take a look at that. But you'll get it again here. You'll start to widen up. See, I can already tell you're going to widen up because look at the gap. See, you'd step better. Just takes your brain up. Now that one you're going to close up. Keep looking at the feet here. Okay. Now, I put a note here, arms much too wide. Holding your arms out in this angle does not help not only your drag efficiency, but you want to keep them tighter inside your body. It's going to help you also design this leg to want to run underneath you. When you do that, it's just going to be more efficient for you, and you're going to get better drive and a straighter drive. Remember, the legs want to follow the angle of the arms. It's just how your brain's going to work. a lot of runners, you may see common. People assume that when they see something, oh, I have a lot of runners that cross over, and a lot of runners do that. Doesn't make it right. It's just common. Long distance runners need to take some rules and some education from some sprinters and use their arms better. Distance runners are very poor with using their arms correctly. I don't know if they feel weird or they feel like they're looking too aggressive, if it's a mental thing, but must learn to pump the arms in a better motion just like sprinters do. You're not going to be as aggressive as a sprinter, but it's still going to work that way. Alright, we're going to go to your next video. Okay, Alice, here's your second video. I'm going to let it run through for you. What we did is, this is your gravity weight line. And you know what? I'm going to put you on pause. I have a second video that I analyzed. This was not the one I analyzed, so I apologize. I'm going to put you on pause. Okay, I'm back with you. There you go. This is the one I actually analyzed. I made a couple copies, so. Alright, so let's watch you run. Again, this is your gravity weight line, basically, right between the ears and the ear and the eye. Some could measure from the hips straight down, and that's okay. Just a different position. For your caliber of running, we're going to give you a little bit of leeway here and put it between your ears and your eyes. Again, the barefoot's going to force you to step earlier. Just so you know, you were stepping completely with your heel and quite a bit out in front. We had measured 15 degrees out in front in the first time that you stepped with overstriding. Okay, so let's go back and look at this. Alright, so what we're looking for is it looks like your heel's going to hit a little bit. We look for when you're going to strike, is this leg too straight? Do you have a bend? You want about a 15 to 25 degrees bend for your style of running. So as you come down, you're almost going to strike right there. You're on the ground, and you are much better. You're slightly forward, but that's okay. We'll see what you do after a couple strikes. I like to give you a couple. There's a good one. So you're still off the ground. Boom, you hit the ground, and you're right underneath your gravity line. If I were to draw a line from here all the way up, remember, I want, for example, I'm going to show you on the next foot. We want when the leg strikes, boom, right there. We want, if this was your ankle, and this was through your leg, okay, versus your leg is doing this. This is in the forward position of your body, which means gravity is assisting you this way. If your leg were to strike, if this is where you strike, which is about where you were striking with your shoes, the angle looks like this. I'll show you. Straight through your body, about right there. Okay, that's behind the body. Okay, and if it's behind the body, it's actually negative, and it's very easy to reason that. So that's why if you learn sometimes to practice in the grass, running just a short distance so you don't end up overstretching your Achilles because you're not used to it, but it will help you strike with your midfoot. You're not locking your leg as much. This is better. You're keeping a little bend when I do a number like this, and I go, I want to say boom, boom, and then here we'll get a little bend in the leg, okay? And that's good. That's 20 degrees of bend in the knee right there off 180, so that's not bad. That's much better than locking the leg straight out, which is what you were doing earlier. So that's a much better approach. You get a little more elastic recoil off your quads. So there again, look, when you strike, you're at least striking flat-footed. There you go, your strike, and you're straight up and down even with your line, so it's not really going to work against you, but it's also not assisting you. Here's what we want to look like your goal. Right there, about right there is where you should be striking. Now, look at the back trail legs here. When this leg comes back, the farther this leg comes behind you, the more you allow yourself to get a better lean, and that's another thing. Our lean here, when I look at our body lean, I'm just going to put this through here and about right here. That's 8 degrees. You really need, you see this runner right here? Let me move this. This is actually placed on purpose. This is about the angle of lean that a runner should be. The slower you go, the straighter up you're going to be. But when you're running at the distant paces you run, a 6-minute mile, between a 5 and a 6-minute mile, this is the lean that is needed. How do you achieve that lean? You achieve that lean by just trusting your body to let this leg go behind you, and that the bend in the knee will look more like this. Move this here. This leg will come down and look a little bit more like this. That's the bend of the knee, and that'll tilt automatically with this behind you, and this angle here will automatically tilt you forward. So this ankle joint right here, which you have plenty of angle, okay, this ankle joint will maintain that angle for you. Right through here, this joint will allow you to bend forward if you trust it. Do you see how your leg's bending here a little bit up this way? When in reality, we want this leg right now should be a little bit more like this. And this approach all the way through. Let me make that off for you. That's a little bit more of the angle. So you just gotta let that leg go behind you better. Let it go all the way through. There you go. Now, here's the other thing. This right here is below the horizontal line. That's the highest you get. See that's as high as it gets, and it comes down. It needs to be right here, above the horizontal line. That's where you got to shoot for a goal. Because when it's here, it's going to drop down much better underneath you here. And that again is more predicated with this lean. The run style you almost have is kind of a braking style. So we just got to get you to trust these things. And the biggest thing is to do the lean technique that I taught you, to lean against somebody and learn to run with a high knee and trust that lean and get used to see what that feels like. That's going to give you your best advantage. Okay? All right, I'm going to pause you out here.